And, you know, the usual alerts that are just, they cover your face so you're not really sure what the hell's going on. There we go. We are good. It is Trending Thursday. Good evening, everyone. This is Carol, so AKA Nani Bus, live with two
Sisters. Hey, good evening, everyone. This is Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0. And I just received a message from the Keanu Reeves on my Instagram account. It's hysterical.
Oh yeah.
I got to read this to you.
So
Hello. I just can't remember where I've seen this beautiful face, but are you a fan of my movies? Well,
Well, first of all, very nice message. We're not gonna, totally diss the author on his, very polite, sweet message, I guess. Yeah, but you know what's that? When you think about that stuff, people do when they get a message or an alert, they really think they're talking to the real person.
Yes.
That's scary.
Yes.
And it's scary that somebody would think that that's funny. I mean, unless it was someone, that you personally knew that was trying to play a prank on you.
Well, that's the thing. And, with social media, we all know, that we have to be very cautious, not give out a lot of information, although we are in social media, right? Which is, how do you balance all that? And I think I was chatting with you earlier about Clubhouse, how I have 5.4 thousand followers now, which is amazing. But the bottom line is, I don't own the rights to that. So if you're trying to, grow a business, and that's where, having that CRM in place is very important. But I will say, from those 5.4 thousand followers, there's probably about 6 or 7 different Keanu Reeves following me. So I would have to say there's a good, probably 1% at least, which would be about 50 people that, I've got princes and kings and whatever,
Yeah.
Hey, I'm flattered.
Well, it's funny where, I don't know. And he's I particularly like him as an actor.
Oh yeah.
He's not, I ever get the feeling he's an elitist type of out, I just think he's kind of down to earth, kind of just, really sticks to himself. He's not out in the limelight of Hollywood and whatnot. So I do like him. Speaking of him, what was your favorite movie, since he wants to know?
Well, I am a big fan of Keanu Reeves, and I've loved all of his movies. I loved, of course, Speed. Loved all those movies. I loved him in, I think it was The Matrix, and there's a couple different movies. I also liked him in that movie with excuse me, that Godfather actor whose name escapes me right at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking of Godfather actors, James Kahn passed away today, 82 years old.
Oh, I remember him. I mean, obviously excellent, but probably one of my favorite, and I got to think of the name of it, favorite movies, and it's a very old movie. I just, it's so sad. I'm looking it up because it's such an old movie that a lot of people probably have not seen. Now I'm trying to find it. Of course, let me do this. I want to say it's based on a true story. I think it's Brian's song.
I think you're right, Brian's song. Oh, so the actor that I was referring to, Keanu Reeves, in that movie, and I don't remember the name of the movie, but his name is Al Pacino. So I would have to look up that movie name, but that was an awesome movie.
He played Brian Piccolo.
Yes.
Gail Sayers was played by Billy D. Williams, and they were teammates. It's a true story. They were teammates, and I want to say it was like, you know, somewhere in the 60s, mid 60s, and the team escapes me. Chicago. It was football, so the Chicago, whatever the heck they're called, Chicago Bear, is it the Bears? Chicago Bears, maybe?
Could be.
Football team. But anyways, he portrays this Brian Piccolo, who, you know, suddenly was diagnosed with cancer. And you see, you know, the journey. And I just remember it resonated with me because he did such an amazing job with that role. And it's one of those movies it's definitely a tearjerker. And I just, well, that's just sad news. See, I've been like on the computer all day long, helping people with their Thrive experience, new people coming on board. But anywho, yeah, so I didn't hear that news, but I am so, oh, he's such just a nice, just seemed like a nice actor, you know, like.
Yeah. And his son, now James Kahn his son's name escapes me, but he is in the revival of Hawaii Five-0. So back to the Brian song, that movie came out in 1971 and was the ABC movie of the week. And James Kahn, of course, played the role of Brian Piccolo.
Yes.
Chicago Bears football player stricken with terminal cancer after turning pro in 1965.
Yeah. And it was just, you know, I'm just so sad to hear that. But of course, yes, he was in The Godfather.
Mm-hmm.
He was the older brother that ended up
Being killed. Sonny
being like, you know, turned into I don't know, a piece of paper with holes in it. I remember that scene vividly. That was I think it was almost like either a toll or a parking, something like that.
booth. Yes, a toll booth.
He knows he's going down, you know, just like, oh, jeepers.
So here's a question. What?
He was an elf too.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh.
What was your what is one of your favorite lines from The Godfather?
I don't know that I have one.
I have two.
Okay, go ahead. So
The first one is, make him an offer he can't refuse.
Oh yeah, that one. That's a good one.
I don't know what I love about that. And then of course the other one was, leave the gun, take the cannolis.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a good one. I'm just still stuck on this. So sad. How did he die? Does it say? Like that matters, but
it did not say from what I saw.
wow.
Did not say.
I'm sad to hear that. Well, you know, you served Hollywood when Hollywood was Hollywood with glamour and and all that good stuff and just good people. And yeah, that's just, you know, sad. That's very sad. I think I'm gonna have to watch one of his movies now. I really liked him. So
Yeah.
I'm sure the things that is trending, you know, sometimes things that are trending are just kind of like makes you sad. Yeah.
Yes, it certainly does. And I think, you know, what you said about, you know, he was Hollywood when Hollywood was, you know, back in the day, like the Walter Cronkite era.
Yeah.
And, you know, he will sadly be missed, I'm sure, all over the world. So
Now, interesting enough, he was born in the Bronx and Queens, and he claimed he was the only New York Jewish cowboy. He was a former Michigan State football player, my Tommy's alma mater. Let's see, he transferred to Hofstra University. Unbelievable. And at that time, he was making a bit player rounds on TV shows, Dr. Kildare, Combat, Route 66, The Alfred Hitchcock Show in the early 60s. Then he was also, after director Howard Hawks cast him in 2 movies, Red Line 7000, 1965, and El Dorado. Forgot about that one.
Oh, yeah.
Started to attract attention, the next blah, blah, blah. The bona fide, star. Later, he showed up later years as a crusty old guy for added color, or the human embodiment of AARP. Kahn was still the kind of performer who stopped dead in your tracks. I mean, he just, and he did such a good role with the elf too. He had a great role. He was the father.
Oh, that's right, because it wasn't Will Ferrell who was the elf.
He was the elf, but he was Will's father. So he did he did such a good job. And, one of the greats, that's for sure. But on this Trending Thursday, we always talk about, a lot of people will just, what's trending, what's going on, got to know. And I say, by the time you go through all your scrolls and rolls and figure out what's trending, you could be the trendsetter. You could be like, whatever, showing people stuff. So anyways, I made a really delicious meal tonight. So I think
I saw that.
Meal is trend setting right now. Like so many people are, did you add this? Can you add that? And it, and it's so funny because I love taking a recipe and picking it apart to still give that robust flavor or rich flavor, whatever it may be, but substituting a lot of that, some of the yummy goodness that's not so necessarily healthy good for you out of the mix. So I did change up a few things. I did sprinkle with some fresh Parmesan cheese. I don't, like I said, about 90% dairy, but I'll do a few, the few flakes of it. And then I did a couple other substitutes, but boy, it came out just so tender, so good. Yeah, it was yummy. But I'm gonna have to go do a few laps because it was, a little bit. I ate not a huge bowl, but a good size. So I didn't really eat a big lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll go do some laps in the pool, get some movement in and get some up. But every now and then it's always good to try new recipes and really make them your own, add your own little flair to it, because that's the kind of recipe where you could add more things, you could take out things and really change the dynamics of the texture and the flavor. So I love doing stuff like that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So tonight, as I was cooking dinner, of course, I'm trying to use up the frozen veggies that we have from the garden last year,
Right.
because when the wave hits, it's going to hit in a big way. And Gary had taken this huge thing of lettuce, red lettuce, and I can make 2 more big salads out of that. Well, now we have the romaine coming in. So it's like, I'll be eating the greens, but I have to be careful of eating green vegetables now, because a lot of these vegetables have purines in them, and I'm prone to, if people don't know what purines are naturally in foods. They're naturally in a lot of meats. They're naturally in a lot of vegetables, specifically green vegetables. I should be okay with salad. But what happens is if you have too many purines, they crystallize within your bloodstream and they go to your feet and cause gout, which is referred to as the rich man's disease.
I did not know it was called the rich man's disease, but yeah, and that's the thing is, people, our bodies keep changing. Every 7 years, I say your body does a reset, and you don't really know what the outcome is going to be sometimes. And interesting enough, inflammation is a very precarious element in so many different issues with so many different either ailments, diseases, whatever it may be. A lot of them have that same common thing about inflammation, because inflammation just plays havoc on your body for so many different reasons.
Yeah, it's the precursor to many cancers. In fact, the rate is very high. It's the last time I looked, it was like 96, 97%. That's kind of high. So you want to kind of, for instance, if you, let's say, have Crohn's disease and you're eating something that you shouldn't be eating, that adverse reaction, even though it's a gastrointestinal type of thing, is causing inflammation. Inflammation raises different cortisol levels,
Right.
and that's what cancers and all that kind of stuff like to feed on. So, if you're suffering from different types of ailments, like if you notice after you eat something, like I have to be very careful with dairy now. And in fact, I had backed, I love cheese. I've backed way, way off on cheese. You have to be very careful with it. In fact, I made the dogs Frosty Paws, and that's ripe bananas, peanut butter, and plain yogurt. So a human can eat the Frosty Paws, but when Gary says, "Oh, I'm going to have a Frosty Paw," I think of, ew, like I don't want to eat that. But I tried a little, I haven't tried it before, and I tried a little taste, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if it was because, we're giving it to the dogs because they like a frozen treat this time of year.
Right.
It was a kind of a mind game kind of thing with me. But
Yeah, I'm not sure that I could eat a Frosty Paw. I'm gonna kind of throw that out there. I'm not really sure about that.
well, you will want to have the Frosty Paw that they make at, for instance, in the frozen food aisle, or what's that ice cream place over in Hamden? They have a Frosty Paw there because it has like dog food bits in it. So obviously you don't want to have that, but this is just all natural. It's just the yogurt, banana, and peanut butter. You mix it together. And I've got the little, I've got the ice cube trays that are the little ice cubes. So I put it in there. And so they're little, just enough for the dog.
Yeah, just enough for the dog. That's awesome.
And of course, Gary needs at least 3 or 4 of those.
Of course. I mean, why not, right? Yeah, I mean, there's so many good alternatives out there to really, still feel like you're having that dairy, like if you like a grilled cheese, they make the vegan cheese. And a lot of people say, ooh, but I'm telling you, when it's melted, like to me, I don't really taste a huge difference. I use the vegan sprinkles cheese for Parmesan cheese. It's their version. They also have, their version of mozzarella, cheddar. I use Vegan-Ace, which actually Hellman's has a nice Vegan-Ace, but Wally World was out of it today, so I bought another brand. But there are already so many different things, and this is what happens when we age. We just, our bodies cannot sustain either the same types of foods or the richness of foods or the makeup of foods because our body's changing. So even though it may have been something we were able to enjoy 10 years ago, we are living proof that, every decade goes by and your body it shifts in such a way. Your appetite slows down a little bit. We know our metabolic rate, everything slows down. And, we just can't tolerate the same kinds of foods. Now, we gone out to dinner, not last night, the night before, celebrating one of our favorite couples' anniversary. And we were out with a bunch of people. And, I think John ordered key lime pie. Why not? You're in Florida, right? A couple of the guys ordered key lime pie, and somebody else, I think, ordered some sort of tart. And literally, when I say I took a taste, it was probably the size of not even a dime. I mean, they were all laughing at me. And I said, no, I just wanted to, I love key lime pie, but, of course, it's got the nice whipped topping, and I just can't do those things. I just say just a little bit, just to get that limey, lime flavor, which is so good, especially in Florida, if you get a really good baker. And, this particular baker that bakes for this restaurant does an amazing job. But, our bodies, and it's not a question of, in that case, depriving, it's preservation. You have to decide, depending on what the outcome is of you not feeling well, and people is, could be that they're in the bathroom, they get a stomach ache, they'll get a headache, some will get a rash. Is it worth it? In my eyes, I can't see my body going through that trauma, because that's what it is. Your body's saying, hey, I can't eat this. I can't tolerate this. Why are you putting this in my system? So if you knowingly know you're putting in stuff that, and it's one thing if you're taking a smidget, but if you are really eating something that your body's not going to react to, the only person that you can complain to is the person in the mirror that's reflecting back at you, because it's your job to know what's good for you and what's not good for you. And it is what it is. We can't stop our bodies from changing. We can't stop our metabolism from doing what it's doing, or the different types of how food is produced and manufactured and how it changes and that inflammation comes. We're not in control of that. So, but what we are in control is knowing, I better not put that in my body. I'm not going to get a good reaction. I personally, it's not worth it to me. It's just not.
Exactly. And, sometimes you have to do, certain things, like for instance, apples. A few years ago, I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago, I love apples. I pretty much have an apple or two a day. But then I started to notice after I ate an apple, I didn't feel so well. So I kind of, the health coach in me, I kind of dove into it and did a lot of research, and come to find out so when an apple starts in the body, like if you've been eating an apple your whole life, and basically all the articles and research said the same thing, that sometimes just like all of a sudden you can't handle the skin from the apple. So I immediately started, I cut an apple and I peel the skin off.
Right.
No problem.
No, and they've got those great apple slicers now, and so you push it down, and now you got the nice slices, and it makes it easy. You just turn it over and take a little knife and pluck the skin off. It makes it quite easy.
Yeah.
And if it's the same thing for me with like wine. I can't drink like I used to love wine, and I still love wine, but sadly I could only have like little bits of it because of the tannins and the skin and stuff. It bothers me.
Yeah, and with the apples, I like to heat them up. It's like a crustless apple pie.
Yeah, the cinnamon, butter. Ooh.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
And every now and then I buy that vegan ice cream. And for the life of me, I got to ask Ryan about that, because I can never remember the name of it. And he's like, oh, Mom, it's whatever. And I can't think of it.
Yeah, I haven't tried any vegan ice cream.
Very good.
Is it good? I'll have to try that, because I've been staying away from, sugars and I'm sure there's some sugar in it to a certain degree, but
Sure.
You got to give it some flavor, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's Trending Thursday. You be the trendsetter. You set the tone of your own health, your wellness, your mindset, which is something that we have to work on over and over again. You never stop working at that. And then really just having that conversation with ourselves and saying, you know what, I'm going to be me. I'm going to be authentically me. And, I'm going to set the trend for what makes me feel good. And so many times you see, especially with social media, so many people trying to be someone else, or, you're following their footsteps so much so, but then you're like, you don't have your own identity. And so that's what I think should be trend setting, is that people should be themselves, have their own identity, goofy, warts and all, because that's what makes you authentically you. And when you are authentically you, you naturally will attract other people that, like that vibe, like people that are real. And, it's a good time to really kind of, I don't know, reevaluate where we are. And that changes, just like our bodies change, just like our gut changes. So what would be the one thing you would say to the audience about being a trendsetter?
Being a trendsetter to me is not about keeping up with something. It's about making a statement on your own that feels so good that you are in alignment with whatever that may be. You know, there's always something going on the circle. You know, who knows? So I would have to say it's about making your own path and not feeling like you have to follow a path. That's, to me, what a trendsetter is.
Yeah, I always think of a trendsetter as an innovator in their own, you know, in their own space. You know, that they have something of value and they want to share it in such a way that's uniquely relatable to who they are and that represents them. And not necessarily to push something or pull something, but rather just to, you know, to impact, you know, if we're all impacting people in a positive way, whether it's with products, whether it's with adding value to one's person, their life, their motivation, their passion. These are all good things. So I like to see things trend setting in that light, in that spirit.
Yeah, because the trends may not be the trends, but the trends are what you make of it. There's a word riddle for you. I haven't done one of those in a while.
That's right. And then the other thing too is like, you know, so what's trending? When I hear also the word trending, I think of fads. And fads come and go like a yo-yo. They do. And sometimes they're reinvented and they come back.
Yeah, like the Slinky. Remember the Slinky going down the stairs?
Mm-hmm.
Here's a thought for you. What if your staircase was a spiral staircase? Would it still slinky down the stairs? Who knows?
I think it would if it was on the inner part of the step.
Quite possibly. We'll have to check that out.
It just keeps, you know, I don't know. I may have to get I don't know how many stairs anymore, but you may have to go get a Slinky and check it out.
I may just have to do that. Who knows?
The other big thing that I noticed really, and this is nothing new, it's pretty much over the last 18 months or so, is bell bottoms.
Really?
Yes, when I wore bell bottoms, which was obviously 60s, early 70s, you know, and then they eventually went to the straight leg or whatnot. Now they're pretty back in style in all shapes and forms. So it's kind of funny. And I'm like, yeah, I wore them.
There's a trends, because that could be the boot cut.
Yeah, remember the boot cut? John used to wear the boot cut. I remember that.
And what really does that mean? So if you had the boot cut, you couldn't wear your flipping sneakers? Like, what exactly does that mean?
I think it was because guys back then wore more boots with the little heel, so maybe they were a little bit longer. And the width of it wasn't a bell bottom, but it belled out enough, but they called it a boot cut because it was just enough to cover the boot, but not, you know, the real wide bottom. So yeah, I've been noticing, and I've been noticing it for a while, but over really, because, you know, you're in the middle of one season, and of course, you know, stores and whatnot are pushing the next, you know, seasons of clothes. So I just seeing bell bottom pictures everywhere. I don't know if they call them bell bottoms anymore, but that's what they are. They're bell bottoms.
Bell bottoms.
So that in my head, that's what I've been seeing lately. But yeah, trendsetting Thursday. This is a good day for you to shine and show what you have and be the trendsetter. So people say, hey, I want what she's got. I want what he's got. What are they doing? What are they doing that's so good, that's working for them, that I want some of that too?
Curiosity is what got the cat.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, my name is Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0, and I'm with two
sisters, and this is Carol, Sir, aka Naughty Boss, trying to figure out this whole trend-setting bell bottom slinky thing going on. We hope that you've enjoyed your Trending Thursday. And again, you be the trendsetter. You show people what your value, your kindness, your passions, and you will promise you'll lock arms with other people that feel that same way. It's a good feeling when you connect with people that you feel good about those things. And we will see you tomorrow for Fantabulous Friday. We love that day as well. We like every day of the week, but we love our different themes. And that is the day that, guess what happens? You get to celebrate you, we get to celebrate you, I get to celebrate you, and I get to celebrate me. How cool is that? We all celebrate each other with goodness, kindness, passion about what we accomplished, and even maybe some things we didn't accomplish, but at least we took the step towards that goal. With that, we'll see you tomorrow. Fantabulous Friday. Everyone, have a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.
Everyone.